6:38 on this Tuesday. Commander-in-Chief, humanitarian, peanut farmer, former President Jimmy Carter's worn a lot of hats in his 98 years. It was recently announced that he was beginning hospice care. As we take a look back at his life and legacy, there is another page in Jimmy Carter's story that you might not have thought about before.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
Those 6 words kicking off a U.S. presidency. But it's these words Gayle Shanks says she'll remember the most from our nation's 39th president, Jimmy Carter.
He's a really wonderful writer, but they were also books that anybody could just pick up and read.
Dozens of books written by President Carter himself, spanning his life, his passions, his heart.
He has several memoirs that he wrote about different phases of his life. He wrote about his relationship with his wife that he's been married to like over 75 years.
Gayle is co-owner of the bookstore Changing Hands, a fixture here in the Valley for almost half a century. President Carter visiting Changing Hands 3 times in his life, most recently in 2015.
Each time he came, we had a huge audience for him.
I was there on that rainy summer day in 2015 and captured this video. You can see people wrapped around the building outside just to get a glimpse of our former commander-in-chief. Was that the longest line you've ever seen here?
It's hard to say.
But maybe one of the tops?
It was definitely one of the tops. Okay. And, not even totally expected.
In fact, Gayle tells me there was one time where the president had to leave, so he came up with an idea to walk through the line and greet everyone on his way out.
I said, the Secret Service is never going to let you do this. He said, it's my life. And he walked up to his Secret Service person and he said, you can walk with me, but I'm walking through the line. And he walked out all through the store, walked out the front door, walked all the way around the complex. He had this way of making you feel like you were the most important person to him in that moment and maybe forever, even though you were only engaged with them for a few moments.
His presidency taking place during one of the rockiest periods in recent memory. Long gas lines, soaring inflation, and the Iran hostage crisis. Carter would lose his bid for re-election in 1980, delivering this speech on his last day in office.
The struggle for human rights overrides all differences of color or nation or language.
So much of what he has done transcends politics.
Absolutely 100% true. And his books transcend politics.
We should take pride that the ideals which gave birth to our nation still inspire the hopes of oppressed people around the world.
And Gayle told me when Ozzy Osbourne came to the store, they had about the same length of line there. So that goes to show you how popular Jimmy Carter's books were. So at 98, Jimmy Carter, the oldest living former president ever. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 and had partnered with Habitat for Humanity for the past 4 decades, and up until recently taught Sunday school at his church in his hometown of Plains, Georgia. For more on the life and legacy of Jimmy Carter, go to ABC15.com.